hard to capture, extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifesting. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my psyche.
Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, and today we are going to be having the conversation that Naruto fans have been putting off for 4 years, ever since chapter 1 of the Boruto manga spoilers started coming out around February or March of 2016. So obviously, if you're an anime only fan, this is the time of month where we are going to be talking about spoilers, and there's really no way to kind of get around kind of talking about this. So I thank you for your support. But with all that being said though, if you're still here, I'm assuming that you're okay with me talking about spoilers. So looks like that time's finally here. You know, for a long time people are saying, was Naruto dying? Was Naruto dead? They've teased it in so many different ways. Like I've talked about before, in the Boruto movie, when we first kicked off this Boruto era, a big part of the promotion was Naruto dead? Was he still alive? Did he sacrifice himself to save Boruto? And then in the Boruto manga, the very first thing that they tease us with is something happened to Naruto. And now we are here. Between that and between the stuff with the chakra illness and the light novels to take place before all these events, the fact that we're here now, it's like a sombering moment. It's a sombering moment because for such a long time we looked at it and we said there's no way they would actually have the balls to kill off Naruto. And I've always said, depending on how they go about it, this could be something that is going to be a huge injection into the Naruto franchise because there's so much goodwill and rapport built up with the character Naruto. And because this is a shonen, you have to look at it from two perspectives. It doesn't necessarily mean that Naruto's always going to remain dead. There have been instances where the main character dies and he stays dead. In this case, Naruto's not the main character, but there is an instance where maybe he pulls like a Meliodas and he's just out the picture for a short period. Maybe this is an instance where maybe Naruto's spirit comes back at the end. We don't know how they're gonna pull this off, but the fact that Naruto and Sasuke have repeatedly run up against Isshiki and they continue to lose, despite the fact that Isshiki is at less than 100%. He's not even at 30% of his power right now. Hell, he's not even at 10% of his power. So the fact that Naruto and Sasuke cannot bring this guy down, it was only logical that at some point one of them was going to end up dying, because despite how polite Isshiki is, they keep getting in his way. And Isshiki's one of those characters where if you give him what he wants, everything's good, but if you get in his way, he will kill you, especially if you repeatedly get into his way. So I definitely think that we're at a point in time, we're in a situation where maybe Naruto going out in this way in a blaze of glory is something that is gonna work for the character. And you know, I talked about in the past how there's a Hokage's curse where most of the Hokage face a life-threatening situation where it's their life or it's the life of the village and they choose the future of the village. Hashirama, we know that Hashirama died of natural causes. During the First Great Ninja War, Tobirama gave his life to protect Hiruzen Sarutobi after naming him the third Hokage. Hiruzen ended up dying in the battle of Orochimaru. Minato died in the battle against the Kyuubi. Tsunade almost lost her life in the Pain arc, and Madara almost killed her a couple times in the War arc. So we've seen on more than one occasion how most of the Hokages end up giving their life in servitude to the village. And so for a character like Naruto to have this dormant power where even the Kyuubi looks at him and says, if you tap into this power, it will come at the cost of your life. Is this something you're prepared for? And I think that because we've been on this journey with Naruto, this is one of those deaths where once it happens, it's going to bring out a wide range of emotions. And I've talked about in the past, I said the closest thing that we've had to this is what happened when they killed Peter Parker off in the Miles Morales universe before Miles Morales was brought into the main Marvel continuity, which is they killed Peter Parker off, and when they killed Peter in that Death of Spider-Man arc, you just saw the odds get stacked and stacked and stacked higher against Peter, and you had Peter dying right in front of Aunt May, protecting Aunt May. You saw how Mary Jane was holding him. You saw how Peter made good with Aunt May and everything. It was one of those times where you saw a character that you loved and you basically spent years clinging to and being attached to suddenly get departed and being killed off in a way that was very true to the character, and it brought out a huge range of emotions out of a lot of fans. But the other thing that it did was Peter's death inspired Miles Morales, and it had him take that next step. And eventually the fans who swore off the series, they ended up coming back because of the goodwill that they had built up through all those years being a fan of Peter Parker. So with the character of Naruto, you know, if you're somebody like me who I haven't been a Naruto fan for the entire 20 years that Naruto's been in existence, it's closer to 16 or 17 years, but you know, for me, I mean, I grew up right alongside Naruto. So, you know, for me, it's a very surreal moment. And yet at the same time, if I'm being honest with you, Naruto giving his life in this way is so poetic. It's so poetic because Naruto is essentially showing his son who's probably the biggest prodigy out the next generation, what it means to be a shinobi, what it means to be Hokage, and what it means to love something more than you love yourself. Like, Boruto has a deep love for his sister Himawari, but the love that Naruto has for the village, it runs deeper than, in my opinion, deeper than the love that Naruto even has for his own family. And you know, for Naruto, this puts him in the same class that Minato was in, where Minato looked at his newborn son, said, I have a chance to raise my son, I have a chance to create all these different memories with him, but it's my duty to put my own feelings aside in order to protect my village. And so to see Naruto in a situation like that, going up against a character this powerful, it's something that is rewarding. And the fact that Isshiki is more powerful than Kaguya, this chapter confirmed it for you. I've been telling people for a very long time, like, look, it said Kaguya had to catch Isshiki off guard. Kaguya was not stronger than Isshiki, and now we find out that Kaguya was a much lower rank than Isshiki. Naruto and Sasuke struggled just to seal Kaguya away, and Kaguya had to basically shoot her load herself. Kaguya had to use a bunch of chakra draining jutsu that sapped out her enormous chakra reserves just to give them a chance, because I think Kishimoto even knew himself that Kaguya was too powerful. So despite the fact that Naruto and Sasuke have gotten more powerful, they're in a situation now to where they can't actually escape it. And I think that this is good. I think that this is very good because it now sets up the possibility that when Naruto dies, it creates the real tension in the series. Because let's be real for a second, up until this point, before Isshiki was introduced, every time there was a major threat in the back of your mind, you always said, well, Naruto's around, Naruto can handle this. So by removing the most powerful character in the series, it creates a void, and by creating that void, it's going to force everybody else around Naruto to step up, and in particular, it's going to force that next generation to step up as well. We've seen on numerous occasions how, look, they're very skilled, but I've always said they're skilled, but they don't have the power. Now the death of the Hokage that's been around for a majority of their lives, this is gonna force them to undergo that shonen cliche where the pain of loss ends up pushing them and propelling them forward into new heights. And I think that this is what's needed, because even the anime has been setting this up. The anime has that line where Naruto talks to the other Kages, and he says, like, look, I'm aware, just like you guys are, that there's a threat that is coming, and this new generation, they're not ready to face it. We're all in agreement, but I look at this new generation and I don't see failures. I don't see people that are too soft. I just see young tree buds that have not begun to even blossom yet. We have to give them more time. And Naruto was the Kage out of all the Kages who was willing to essentially stake his claim on the potential of this next generation. What better way for Naruto to stake his claim for the next generation and to give his life to them and actually be the nourishment that's needed to make this next generation blossom? It's actually very beautiful. Now, I know it's going to be pretty emotional for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to be in their feelings, but this is going to generate a lot of excitement, and this is one of those things where if you kill Naruto in this way, if you go this route, the chapters after this absolutely have to be some of the best writing that this series has done. Ikimoto's art has got to be completely on point. Kodachi's writing for the stuff that happens directly after this has got to be on point, because this is one of those times where, say you adapt this in the anime, when Naruto does it, you need to have it where the anime opening does not play in the beginning. The anime opening is at the very end. You have to send Naruto out in typical fashion. So this is going to be huge right here. So my question to you guys is, do you guys think they're going the right decision to have Naruto go out in this way? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.